welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. My name is Hannah, this is Nova, and this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. Happy New Year! This is the first episode I'm recording in 2022. Feels super weird to say that, and what a crazy couple of weeks it's been. This one has been sick. I have not touched yarn since Sunday. It's Thursday right now when I'm recording this. I'm going to try to get through this and put her down for a nap as soon as possible, and hopefully she'll sleep. So it's not COVID, so I don't want y'all to worry about that. But I had got like a stomach bug on Monday, which I haven't had in years, mind you. And like I had a low-grade fever. At least I wasn't throwing up, thank God. It was the other way. She, yesterday, which is Wednesday, had 103.5 fever, which babies have high fevers like that. We were able to get it down, etc. So she keeps dropping this book. You hold it? You want to hold it? Oh, you want to say hi to the people? Say hi to the Nova fan club. She doesn't feel good. You can tell in her face. She's much better today. Yesterday, she just could not do anything. So her fever was 100 this morning instead of much higher, which is really good. And she did sleep last night, which is really good. But yeah, it's been an adventure, but I still have lots to show you. So I'm going to put this one to bed, and then I will be back to share yarn adventures with you. You say bye? Say bye-bye. Bye-bye. And no, not having it. I don't feel good, Mama. Oh, she's trying to blow a kiss. That's what she does. She doesn't do this part really. Mwah. Yeah, you blow kisses. Mwah. My God, I'm so glad I brought you on the intro just so you could blow kisses to the world. I'm back. The baby is not quite asleep yet, but she's in her crib and her butt is up, which is a great sign. That's normally her pre-go to sleep, she sticks her butt in the air and she wiggles it around, which is so adorable. So hopefully she'll sleep for an hour and then we have time to get through this podcast because I have all kinds of things to share with you, even though I have not touched yarn since Sunday. I feel like I was rambling earlier, but basically what happened was I got some kind of stomach bug, which I haven't had in years, like one time in 10 years, I think. There's a street sweeper going on outside. There's gonna be all kinds of noise. Laundry is going, my husband is working, the baby monitor is here, and the volume is up because if she cries, she's sick. So, this is real life, y'all. So I got a stomach bug, which took me out for a day and a half, and then I randomly lost my voice, like the next day. So I'm still like a little scratchy from that. Super weird. And then she yesterday had a fever of 103.5. I did get her checked by the pediatrician just because she's so little. They wanted to rule out ear infections and pneumonia, and she doesn't have any of that. So they're pretty convinced it's viral. And with her fever being 100 this morning when she woke up, I'm convinced it is as well. So, we did all the things. We brought her fever down. She's on medication. She's much happier this morning. Yesterday, she barely would eat. She just was so miserable. Today, she ate breakfast, which is a bonus. So I have my tea, so hopefully my voice will make it through this podcast. It is the tea that I am never, ever, ever, ever without in my cupboard. It is Throat Coat, but not the regular Throat Coat kind. It's Traditional Medicine is the brand. Throat Coat Lemon Echinacea. I despise the regular Throat Coat kind, but the Lemon Echinacea kind is one of my favorite teas, and I have allergies all the time. So anytime I have allergies or my throat is scratchy or I lost my voice for a day, I always make this tea and it makes me feel 1,000% better. Truly never without this tea in my cupboard. Still very slightly warm, too warm to drink almost. If you're looking for me anywhere on the interweb, you can find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram and on Facebook. We do have a Ravelry group for this podcast linked directly down below as well. That's where our make-alongs are run. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns about the podcast specifically, please shoot me an email to thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. How are you? This is the first episode of 2022. It feels crazy. I'm I'm really glad that my house waited to have germs and sickness until after the holidays. That is like such a blessing. I'm going to be taking a lot of sips during this podcast. I apologize in advance. Bear with me because we have so much to talk about. And the first thing I have to talk about is what I am wearing. This is the Sunset Beach shawl pattern, and it is officially live on Ravelry and on PayHip for you guys to purchase if you would like. This is a pattern that I am working on. It's done. It's like finished. This uses one giant cake of 1,000 meters. 1,000 meters? I think it's 1,000 meters, not 1,000 yards, but they're pretty close either way. One cake of durable cotton color cake, so it's a cotton acrylic blend yarn. I started from one end, and it's one of those self-changing yarns. So none of these are color changes that I did myself. This is all how the cake looks. And I used almost all of the yarn. It's perfect. This is the shawl itself in the pattern, the size of the shawl, but there is an optional extension if you would like to make it about this much bigger, and you have yarn for that. There's two options. One that you can just keep working a couple of rows and use up all the extra yarn that you have, and the other is to work another flat and ribbing section. I adore this shawl, and because it's cotton, I'm going to be able to wear this all the time. In fact, I have a wedding. What's today? Thursday? Tomorrow night. I have a wedding tomorrow night to officiate, and their colors are these colors. So I'm going to wear my typical black and wear this. And it's not on Sunset Beach. That would be too perfect. Sunset Beach is like 5 miles from my house. It's an actual place. And I have officiated weddings on Sunset Beach, but this particular wedding is at a beach like 5 miles south. But I think it's close enough, so I'm really excited to wear it. It's what I would probably say like advanced beginner, because you are doing ribbing. You can see the ribbing stitches. And there is all of these rest rows where you're just doing a plain stitch. And I really like it. My testers seem to really like it. And I am, I don't know what was happening. My brain is just not here. My poor testers, I sent them the pattern, and this is, it's a toss up. Sometimes when I have a pattern ready, it like goes out and like nobody has any problems with it. Several of my testers had an issue with the pattern because the directions were not clear. So I edited it like twice, and then everyone was happy. And then I sent it to my tech editor, and she was like, well, this is not actually right. Like your stitches are not lining up the way I think you want them to. So take a look at this for me, maybe. So I did, except that I took a look at it after Nova had been awake since 2 a.m. with a fever. So I only corrected half of the problem, and I sent it back to her, and she was like, okay, this part is good, but also we need to work on this part. And it was just a mess. So I'm very, very grateful to all of my testers and my tech editor, because now the pattern is pristine. This is why, even if I think I have done an amazing, amazing job on the pattern, and it will just blow you away with how fabulously written it is, I always try to get my patterns tested, and there is never a pattern that I will release that has not been tech edited, because I don't want you as the maker to be frustrated because I can't read because I've been awake since 2 a.m. with a baby. So I'm so grateful for my tech editor. I'm so grateful for the people who tested for me, and my testers for this particular shawl were my patrons. I put the testing call out on Patreon, and so many of my patrons tested the shawl for me, which I'm so excited about. So future testing calls, I'll probably post there first, and then if I need more testers, I'll post in my normal channels as well. So I'm very excited. The Sunset Beach shawl, it's so my color palette. It's so light, and with cotton yarn, I don't usually do a lot of stuff with cotton yarn, but the stitch definition in cotton yarn is like to die for. To die for. I just love it. I just love it, you guys, okay? So it's released. The link for this pattern is directly down below for Ravelry. On Ravelry only, you can use the coupon code Sunset Beach for $1 off this pattern for 1 week. That will be next Saturday. I'll put the date on the screen because I have no idea what day it is. So use this code Sunset Beach for $1 off. That's just my way of saying thank you for supporting my pattern release and supporting me. The code does not work on PayHip. PayHip charges crazy fees. Between PayHip and PayPal fees through it, like in order to offer a coupon code, I'd have to raise the price. So it's like, you'd be paying the same amount. So if Ravelry is accessible to you, use the coupon code. Otherwise, if Ravelry is not accessible to you and you need the coupon code, I guess email me and we'll figure something out, because I do want this pattern to be accessible to everyone. So thank you so much for your support of my pattern, and also thank you to Emmy who donated the yarn to this pattern. It is the durable cotton color cake and it's fabulous. Fabulous. Next. In 2021 was the year that Nova, well, she arrived in 2020, technically, by a couple of weeks. But 2021 was the year of Nova, so I didn't podcast for 6 months because I was dying. And then I did podcast, but I just didn't have bandwidth to do host anything or anything like that. So in 2022, I want to host a make-along to kick off the year. I know we all love to make things together. This is super exciting. So the make-along is going to be a repeat of one that I did a couple of years ago. It's called the Love Your Stash Cal. We'll put the hashtag on the screen, Love Your Stash Cal. We're gonna have a thread in Ravelry as well as a hashtag on Instagram. You can make anything you want. There are no rules other than it must be from your stash. And by must be from your stash, I mean the yarn had to have entered your stash by December 31st, 2021. So if you got the yarn in January of 2022, it doesn't count. So by December 31st of 2021, this includes whips, okay? It can be any percentage done because whips are part of our stash. You can knit, you can crochet, you can tat, you can weave, you can spin, you can embroider. Anything you want to do is totally fine as long as it is a fiber craft. And we are going to get through some of our stash yarn together. I have a project I'm working on that I'll show you in a minute. That is my goal for 2022 to get this project finished. So there will be prizes. I'm just gonna make one thread in Ravelry. You can post your cheddar, you can post your FOs there, and of course you can tag the hashtag on Instagram. There will be prizes. I'm gonna say we are going to run this through the end of March. Yeah, that's like 2.5 months from now. And so if you're working on a big project like a cardigan or a blanket or something like that, that should give you some time to do it. This is not going to be a year-long make-along, just it has to be from your stash. We all have yarn in our stashes, at least most of us, that is beautiful and deserves to be used and deserves to be loved. So go pull something out, go into your unfinished object UFO bin and pull something out that you want to finish that is speaking to you. And let's give our stashes a little bit of love. Love, I say. Now, despite not having touched yarn since Sunday, I actually have a fair amount of progress to show you. I have 1 crochet project and 3 knitting projects, although one of them only had like a couple rows done on it. But you know, if I do 1 stitch on something, it is going in the podcast, y'all. So I'm gonna show you the crochet project first because this I dedicated my whole life to until it was done. And then I focused on knitting after that because sometimes when I finish a really big project, whether it's knitting or crochet, I switch automatically to the other craft because I just kind of need like a reset. I need a palette cleanser. Some of you can guess what this is because I was very close to finishing it last time. It is the DK version of my granny stripe cardigan. Okay, I'm gonna show you the yarn, then I'm gonna talk about it. The yarn was so graciously donated as yarn support by Shella, who is Unique with Fiber. I have linked her Instagram and Etsy shop down below. Please go show her some support. She is an amazing dyer of yarn. And I will show you all of the yarn that she sent me. It's still living in its box because that was the easiest way for me to organize it. So I cannot show you the first yarn because I used every single scrap of it. But this is the second ball of yarn. I've got maybe 6 or 7 grams left. That's the third. Oh, this one's collapsing, but that's the fourth. I've got these little itty bitty balls of yarn because I've used almost every yarn that I possibly could. This one, then it went into this, and then this. So this is the color, this is the fade. And then right at the back seam was this last yarn. So I still have a fair amount of this left. This was a 75 gram skein. I want to say I've used maybe 20 to 30 grams of this. And then this one was the border. So I've used about half of this yarn. I used about maybe 40 to 50 grams for the border. And then I have an extra purple because she dyed 2 purples. We weren't sure which one I was going to use, but this one I just felt made the border pop really, really well. So this one will be saved to go with this, and something will be made for Nova. Nova. She doesn't know how spoiled she is. So those are the yarns. Now let me show you in its finished beautiful glory. All of the ends are woven in. This has been washed and blocked. The only thing is I haven't trimmed the tails yet. Ta-da! Oh my goodness, my goodness, oh my goodness. I'm gonna take this off and put this on so you can see it. It's so great. It's so great. When it came off the blocking mat, I tried it on and I literally just danced around the house like I was wearing a cape, a superhero cape, because it is perfection. So as you can see, we have the darkest orange and then it fades through the pink into the purple, and then the purple kind of stops here. But if I turn around, you can see how it goes in the back. It fades together into a perfect harmony. It is long. I can't fit my whole body in the screen, but it is exactly as long as the fingering weight version. All of the measurements worked out perfectly. I did block this within an inch of its life because my row gauge was a little bit tighter than I would normally have made it, just because I wanted to use every scrap of the yarn that I possibly could. So I was determined to get full rows and not start fading in the middle of rows. I wanted it to have this perfection. So basically what I've done since the last time I've seen you is I seamed up the back, I seamed up the sides, and then I wove in all of my ends. Then I did the sleeve cuffs and I did the border around the whole thing. Now, on my fingering weight version, you may have noticed, I wish I had brought it to show you. I'm so out of it because of this week. The sleeve cuffs and the collar / border, those are done in the same yarn. But this one, I tried to make this a purple cuff and it just did not look right. Like, I was not happy with it, so I ripped it out. And I was like, okay, so I need to make it with the darkest orange so that the fade is true all the way through. Except I only had 10, 11 grams left of the darkest orange, some of which I used for seaming. So I did one sleeve cuff and I was like, there's no way. I'm not gonna have enough. I'm playing the biggest game of yarn chicken. Like, I was literally about to write Shella an email on Instagram and be like, beg her for 10 more grams of this dark orange. But I made it 2.5 rounds into the second cuff. And so what I did is I actually took the tail on one of the sides that I had seamed. I had about this much extra yarn because I miscalculated how long I would need the tail to be. And so I took that tail and finished the cuff and then had just enough to weave it in. Like, when I say I used every square, every single centimeter of that yarn, I totally did. There is none left. There was about this much of tail. That's it. So I won the game of yarn chicken. And this is why I always say, if you're making something and you swatch, do not throw out your swatch, because your swatch, depending on how big it is, may save your life at the end. This one was a yarn tail that saved my life, and it is so perfect. It's so perfect. So I'm really just in love with this. I'm in love with the yarn. It is so soft. It's so squishy. It worked up so much faster, obviously, than the fingering weight version because it's DK weight yarn. And Shella has been, I will say, she didn't just provide yarn support in that she dyed some yarn and sent it to me. Like, she really has been a partner in planning this cardigan because she thought with me together about the look that I wanted to go for and the colors that I wanted to go for. And like, I literally couldn't be more happy. The only thing I have left to do is trim all these tails. That's it. Then I can wear it. And I'm going to wear it. In fact, I would have already worn it, except the plague has descended upon my house. And so, life has not been together at all. Ridiculous. So yeah, I'm so happy with it. Now I have to take pictures. So I haven't taken any photos of this yet. I wanted to do that this week, but of course nothing happened this week. And once I've taken photos, I still have a lot of work to do on the pattern for this. The first half of the pattern for the panels until you get to the back neck portion, that part is done. But I still have to do the back neck portion. That requires a lot of rethinking of math for me to do. I have to edit the cuffs and collar section, and then I have to recalculate yarn weight and for each size. So there's I would say at least 4 or 5 more hours of work on that pattern. So I don't know when it will be ready, given how life is going at the moment. What is it? January 12th today? 13th? Whatever day it is, my goal is to have the pattern ready to go to testing by the end of January. I truly don't know if that's going to be possible. It just depends on the baby being sick and life, and I've got some dental work happening next week. I was actually supposed to get some dental work tomorrow, which is Friday, but because the baby is sick, my mom can't come over to watch her, so I had to reschedule that appointment because it's not happening. So it's just a mess. My life is a mess. And this is an exercise in letting go of expectations because I want this to be out. And I know so many of you are really excited about this pattern. I want it to be released into the world. I really do. And I have to be patient and let things happen as they happen. So yeah, I am just so thrilled with it. So please go support Shella and send me well wishes so that I can get some focused time in on this pattern sometime in the next week or two. And that taking photos is easy. It's supposed to be a little bit chilly next week, and I'm hoping that holds true so that I can actually take photos without sweating to death. Because, it's January, but it was 75, 80 degrees yesterday. It's January, y'all. Some of y'all have like 0 degree temperatures. Okay. So that's the first thing I finished. I'm so thrilled about it. And once that is a really big crochet project. So once that was done, I really needed to not crochet, like my hands were hurting. And I just needed something else to focus on. I have another design that I want to start, which is the Belong Wrap, which I showed you the delightful yarn by Eden, who is Eden's Fun Yarn. I showed you that on the last podcast episode. I haven't swatched or anything for that design yet because I just needed a break from crochet. Maybe I will be able to get that started, although that may be a February start project if I can spend some mental energy on this pattern. I also still have not written up the pattern for the Omega blanket because, as I said, life. Do y'all have tips on how to let go of expectations around life? Because I constantly feel like I'm doing a mediocre job at everything except being a mom. I am not doing a mediocre job at that. I was about to say a bad word, and I know some kids watch, so I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say I'm doing a kick butt job at being a mom, and I'm very proud of myself for that. But everything else in life, my job, honestly, the house, my friends, and the things that bring me joy in life, like crochet, I'm just doing barely anything on, and I'm trying to let go of expectation. I think it's my expectation that I'm going to get more done that's causing me suffering. But I don't know how to let go of the desire to move forward. I don't know. This is getting very deep. Let's not go down that rabbit trail. If you have tips though, I'll take them. So I'm going to show you 2 small knitting projects, and then I'll show you the big one that pretty much occupied most of my time. This one is a sock. I have done about an inch. This much I have done. And this just kind of stays in my bag that goes with me everywhere. So if I have a few moments, I do a couple rows. And I was doing a wedding and I had a little bit of time before it started, so I got to work on this. That's it. It is now at the point where I have done a couple of rows for the heel. You can barely tell that one side is higher than the other. So this is Zauberball Crazy yarn. It's a long color repeat. And I knit all of my socks on 2.25 millimeter ChalGoo red lace 9-inch circulars until the toe, and then I use magic loop. I do 64 stitches, so I cast on 64 stitches. I do 15 rows of ribbing, 2x2 ribbing, and then I just do the leg however long I want it. For me, my perfect leg length, I know some people like really tall socks. I do not for my tall socks. I just want them to be a little bit taller than my ankle bone so they don't ride down if I'm wearing boots. So mostly I make shorty socks. So for my long sock cuff, I will do 6 inches from top of the cuff to where I start the heel. That is the max I will do. If they're longer than that, I just won't wear them. And the shorty socks, I'll do 15 rounds of ribbing and then 15 rounds of stockinette before I start the heel. So that would be about this much for a shorty sock. So yeah, I made just a teeny tiny bit of progress on that. ongoing long sock project. I haven't touched the sock that I'm making out of that sock blank because I'm almost to the toe. I'm like half an inch from the toe, and I always stall when I have to switch to magic loop. Also, my home, I can only apparently have one in the round knitting project going at a time. And my in the round knitting project at home has been the second muscle Burra Hat, which of course is living in one of my favorite bags of all time. It says alpaca my bag. Here is your bi-weekly dose of alpaca butt. I love this bag so much. The Muscle Burra Hat is a pattern by Isolde Teague, and it is a long tube hat that you fold inside of itself and it becomes a double layered hat. Much, much too hot for Florida, but this is a gift for someone that's living in a cold place. So the two yarns that I'm using a fingering weight yarn and then a mohair held double. So this is Rorschach's Wool Mice yarn, 80% merino, 20% I assume nylon, that's in a different language. And then I'm using an ice yarns, which is 30% mohair, 30% acrylic, 40% nylon. This is actually the same ice yarn mohair that I used on the first Muscle Burra Hat, and I didn't expect to be using on the second one, but it's going so perfectly. So these are the two colors, and what it is making is the richest, like plummy burgundy. Ugh. This is a fabulous color. I am so happy. It's coming out like a very beautiful tonal, even though it's two different yarns. I just am in love with this. So this is where I was last time. I had just finished the increases and put it onto the circular. I have done all of this. That's probably 5 inches, maybe even 6 inches. I think I have to get to 16-ish inches before I start decreasing again. So this is so easy to just pick up and knit a few rounds. This is what I've been doing at night when I haven't had any brain space. Although, as I said, didn't touch yarn for 4.5 days now. When people are sick in your house, it's not possible. I just am in love with it. And of course you can see the fuzzy halo. It's so perfect. It's so perfect. And I love the pattern. The pattern is written for pretty much any gauge, like lace weight all the way through worsted. So whatever your gauge is, you can make this hat. And I really enjoy the pattern, and I'm happy that I have made it. And I'm working on it. So we'll see how much progress I get on that next time. The last project I have to show you is a project that has gotten no love in quite some time, and this is my goal for 2022, is to finish this project. I have a crochet sweater that I would like to make called the Last Ray sweater in pink. And I really would like this one to be finished so that I can dedicate all of my extra time to that. It has been quite a journey. It is my Skyrim Cardigan. The Skyrim Cardigan is not a pattern called the Skyrim Cardigan. This is a Joji Locatelli pattern. It is the, if I can find the right page, Long Line Cardigan by Joji Locatelli. Really a challenging project for me. It was my Mission Impossible Mal project for 2019. And then in 2020, it didn't get much love because I was pregnant. But it is moving along. I have 8 colors total that I am using and fading throughout the body. I am almost through color 6. So I have 2 colors left, which means 50, 60, 74. I have 74 more rows in the body. And then of course both sleeves. But compared to what has already been done in the body, that's like 25. I've already done almost 150 rows. So under the arms. So that's pretty good. The colors I am using, these are yarns that were dyed to me by my lovely friend Leah, who was Sheep Happens Yarn, and she is sadly no longer dyeing yarn. But she sent me all of these skeins as a gift in, I think, 2018, I want to say. And I knew they needed to be this cardigan, but I was so scared to use them. So I knit a Gramps cardigan for my husband first to kind of get the idea of a knitted cardigan. And then I picked this pattern for these Skyrim, and they're named after cities in Skyrim. So I'm not going to pull all the balls out because it's just too much. But what I will try to do is somehow, without dropping stitches, There's 2 balls of yarn currently attached to this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the first color, okay, let's see. All right, we got it. The first color is Solitude. Second color is Dawn Star. The third color is Winterhold. The fourth color is Morthal. The fifth color is Windhelm. And the sixth color, where I currently am, is Whiterun. So as you can see, I started, this sleeve has been like this, one sleeve cap done, since before Nova was born. I should not have done that before finishing the body. There's a reason you don't do that, because it's just too many yarns. The other sleeve cap is not done. But what I will show you is the fade is working out perfectly. Like, I could not be more happy with this. Let me see if I can. This is where I was last time, the top of this stitch marker. So I've done all of this, which this is a lot of work because each of these rows takes me 20 to 30 minutes. I was really, really hoping, my goal, because I do 25 rows in one color and then I fade for 12 rows. You can see the fade right here. I was hoping to get through the fade from color 6 to color 7, but of course I got a stomach bug, so it didn't happen. But this is, I'm so delighted with this. I literally could not be happier. It's magical. This is going to be the most magical cardigan of all time. And I really just want to, it's the only thing I truly want to work on right now. So I'm kind of just listening to that, because if I have mojo for it, like, I'll use it, right? So I'm letting other things take a back seat, trying to let go of my expectations, as I already said, so that I can work on this. So that's 6 colors. The last 2 colors are even darker. So this is the next one. And this is the colorway. What color is it? Riften, the Thieves Guild town, if you play Skyrim. And the last color is the darkest, and it is Falkreath. So I'm gonna start fading in this color. This is where I am right now. You can see how well they go together. I'm gonna start fading in this color this week. Then I'll have 12 rows of fade, 25 rows of this, and then 12 rows of fade. And this last color, I believe most of this color will be spent doing ribbing. How many ribbing? How many ribbing? Yeah, I think the last 2 rows are ribbing. So this color will be ribbing. And then all I'll have to do is the entire sleeves on fade for both of them. And I'll have to learn helical knitting, and I will have to refigure out. I made some notes, but there is no way a year and a half later, 2 years later, that I'm going to remember exactly how I picked up the sleeve cap, unfortunately. So I believe that I'm going to have to pick up this sleeve cap and try to do it before I knit down this sleeve, because I need them to match, and if I can't make them match, I'm gonna have to rip this one out and redo it because it's been so long ago. And I remember that I had to pick up way more stitches than called for, because my gauge is like way off. I'm making the large size, but I'm making like the extra large stitch counts. So let's see here. You can see this is part of my sleeve notes is all of this. I think I said I needed to, because I'm picking up extra stitches, I need to have extra decreases. So I'm supposed to have 44 extra stitches. I'm gonna have to sit down and have a think about this, but not yet. I'm just focusing on the body. Once the body is bound off, then I will probably take a break from this because the challenging parts are the hardest for me to do right now. Brain power is at an all-time low. But it does feel good to have a little bit of progress on the Skyrim cardigan. Goodness, time for a sip. So that would totally count for the Love Your Stash Cow, because it's been in my stash since 2018 and it's been a whip since 2019. I just desperately want to wear it. I know when it's finished, it'll be the best thing in the world. So I'm just gonna keep on trucking, and one stitch at a time, it will eventually be finished. Now, let's talk about yarn because I have a little bit of happy mail to show you. Some things arrived in the mail. One thing was a box sent to me from Lolo Body Care by Z, who is Zelda NRJ3 on YouTube. And I'm going to, again, put her affiliate link for Lolo Body Care down below. Please use her link if you buy anything because she is an affiliate of Lolo Body Care. So if you were around for the last few podcast episodes, you know my whole thing. I went through Lolo Body Care. I am still loving it. The thing I'm loving more than life itself is the foot bar. Oh, I use it every single night. Every night. I love it so much. And then she sent me a twist, which I have a lotion bar, which I've been using on and off, but I think that I will probably use this more. I don't know that I love the feeling of rubbing. Like, I don't like the feeling after lotion is rubbed into your hands, right? So like on my fingertips specifically, I don't like it, but I want the lotion everywhere else on my arms. So typically what I do when I rub lotion in of any kind is after I rub it in, I will go wash my hands so I don't have that feeling. But this is a twist, and it's basically like a deodorant stick of lotion that you can just do this. You don't have to touch it if you don't want to. And so it's hard to reach places wherever you want to put lotion, but I also just like it because it makes putting on lotion so easy for me. And there was something else in the package that I found very funny. And it's a little coaster. And it says, "I'm the girl who listens to gangster rap on the way to the farmer's market after yoga." I just thought that was really funny. So now that I have shown it to you, I'm going to put it on my little table because I always have a drink of some kind on my little table next to me when I knit or crochet at the end of the day. So I will be putting my drinks there. So this smells so good. And one thing that Lolo Body Care does that I find really, really cute is they send you these Lolo Loves of a scent. They just include one. And that way you can try out a scent. And if you want to try out a scent before ordering a giant thing from them, in case you don't like it, you can get one of these and they're like $1 or $2. This one is lilac. I'm going to honestly say the Vanilla Moon scent is my jam. Lilac? I don't think so. It smells like it smells like my grandma's house. But I really, really, really appreciate that you have the opportunity to try out a scent before you buy it, before you spend money on a whole thing. So if you're kind of like, I don't know, is the scent going to be too strong for me? Is this a scent that I'll like? Like, you know, if you always like the scent vanilla, the chances are pretty good you're going to like vanilla. If you always like the scent lilac, chances are pretty good you're going to like the lilac scented lotion, right? But if there's a scent that is not familiar to you and you're like, I don't know, will I like it? Who knows? Try one of their little tiny ones so that you can not waste any money. And if you love it, then you can always order more, right? But I love the Lolo Twist. Thank you so much, Z. And also, I love the foot bar. So highly, highly, highly recommend. And if you're not sensitive to beeswax on your lips, like I am, boo, I recommend their chapsticks as well. The second thing that came in the mail, there's a bag of Cheetos in there. That did not come in the mail. That got stashed there, probably by Nova. It was a box for my lovely friend, Emmy, who is the same person who provided yarn support for this design. And she sent me a couple of things, and it was like just such a box of treasures. So she comes up with these cards, which I find hysterical. It's the Bleedles. It says, I want to hold your Hank. She always has the best cards. I find them absolutely hilarious. And she sent me like a whole treasure trove full of stuff in here. So there is some tea, and now I don't remember if this tea came in your box or not. It has clearly been attacked by Nova. Sorry, I thought I heard the baby. I did not. You see this crumpled And actually, there's a little bite taken out of it right here. So if these came in your box, thank you. Or if they came from someone else, thank you to whoever sent them. Nova likes them a lot. She chewed on them. But also was this little pin. It is a yarn chicken. You see this? It's got a tiny ball of yarn. I should have had this when I was making my DK Granny stripe cardigan, because literally I was playing yarn chicken. It's so funny. So funny. Also, she sent, there's a yarn chicken sticker, which is going on my special treasures yarn box where I put all my stickers. There's several of these, which are tags, and they say the Cozy Cottage Crochet. You better believe that one of these is going on my DK Granny Stripe cardigan, and one of these is going on my Skyrim cardigan as soon as it is done. That is so cool. And it comes with hardware, so you actually don't even have to sew it on. You can just put it on with like a hammer, I assume. So how cool is that? So cool. There was a delightful little gift card for Starbucks, which I love Starbucks. So the reason I'm showing this to you is because it came with yarn scraps, which I think is a really fun way to do a gift card. So if you're looking for a fun way to send a gift card to someone, put some yarn scraps. Then your yarn scraps aren't wasted and they're colorful and it's adorable. She also sent, we have been discussing this color of yarn. I've been discussing it for a while with her. It's from her yarn store, Be Woolen, and it's their own colorway, and it is called Old Man Pants. If this is not the exact color of Old Man Pants, I don't know what is. I have never seen a more accurate yarn name in my life. Old Man Pants. For sure, this is the color of the pants my grandpa wore. This is, what is it? 100% merino. Specifically dyed for Be Woolen. Old Man Pants. I just think that is the most hilarious yarn. I don't know what I'm going to make with that yarn. Maybe something for Nova. Wouldn't it be funny to have her wearing something made out of Old Man Pants yarn? Maybe that's just me. I find that hilarious. She also sent me a Furls crochet hook, and I know I talked about Furls in the last episode about how they were just too heavy for me, and so I wasn't loving using them, but this particular crochet hook is called Supernova. It's really pretty, but actually this is completely different than the Furls hook I had, because this is like made out of acrylic, and it weighs almost nothing. So the one that I had was weighted, which is supposed to help with like ergonomics or whatever, but it was too heavy for me and it made my hand hurt. But this one weighs almost exactly the same as my Clover Amour. It might weigh slightly more. These are the ones I normally use, the Clover Amour. So I think actually this might be fine. This probably won't give me a hand cramp. But also Supernova. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. So I will definitely be giving that a try. And I will share my thoughts. And the last thing that was in there was a 4mm, 40-inch ChiaoGoo red lace knitting needle. Oh, I just realized I had a Hufflepuff sticker on there. I didn't even see that before. Cute. This is because I was complaining at length about the muscle Burra hat and how my 40-inch interchangeable cable is currently trapped in my Skyrim cardigan and has been trapped there for a year and a half, probably 2 years now. And it will not be untrapped until 70-something more rows. So there's no way that the muscle Burra hat won't be finished before this. And so I've had to rig a magic loop to do the decreases and the increases at the beginning of the hat with shorter cables and a connector, which I loathe doing because the yarn catches and it is such a pain in the butt. And Amy doesn't knit, so she went to the store and got them to like tell her what I needed, and it is exactly this. This will make my life so delightful when knitting the end of this hat. And I may have to knit more hats now that I have the cable for it. That was really sweet of you. Thank you for thinking of something that I am very highly irritated about. And now I won't be, because it's magic. So much fun to get in the mail, and that package was just like, it was really, really fun. The last thing that came in the mail is something that I ordered a year ago. I can feel my voice is going. Let's drink more tea. Nova was really, really tiny. My voice cracked. Did y'all hear that? When Nova was really tiny, like a couple months old max, there was a Kickstarter for something that I saw. And this is one of I know I made 3 purchases last year, but I can only think of, oh no. Okay, so last year I bought my advent calendar. I also bought a pair of boots. And I bought this. Those are the 3 purchases of yarn related things that I made last year. This was a Kickstarter, so you like basically paid for what you wanted to support them, and then you don't get it until the yarn arrives. So it was supposed to arrive sometime at the end of the year, like November, December, but because of all the shipping delays and COVID, et cetera, it didn't arrive until this week. I've been waiting for this yarn for a year, y'all. It is so delightful. So the the company is called Oola and Leah. Oola Plus Leah. It is Mongolian yarn. This is baby yak yarn. So the Kickstarter project is Herders to Home. And so it's a guy who organizes local sheep or local animal farmers who brush the yarn, brush the hair, etc. And then it gets spun and then it gets dyed in Mongolia, and then it comes back to America and gets shipped out. And so the Kickstarter prices were so reasonable. I have never had any kind of baby yak yarn, I don't think. So this is what I ordered on the Kickstarter. I ordered 700 grams, enough to make a sweater, a big sweater, of 100% baby yak yarn in this color, which is Antique Ruby, I believe. This is a fingering weight, 430 yards. And I'm just gonna read you what it says on the label. This is the 3rd year that they're doing this. So entering in on our 3rd year working with sustainability-focused herder cooperative groups in the Arkhangal province of Mongolia. All of our baby yak wool comes from free-range animals raised by traditional nomadic herders. The unique, bitterly cold Mongolian winters force livestock to produce incredibly fine fibers to sustain them through the cold. When these animals start to shed in the spring, herders brush their animals, harvest their down coats, delivering some of the most sought-after fibers on earth. I want to say that this cost, because I can't remember, it's been so long, I want to say that for 7 skeins, 700 grams of 100% baby yak wool, sustainable baby yak wool from Mongolia, it was about $90. That is an unheard of price. I can't remember exactly what it cost because I paid for it a long, long time ago. Like I said, when Nova was very, very small. I will definitely be supporting them next year. The only thing is, of course, you have to wait a very long time. So after they got all of the yarn, or after they had like closed the Kickstarter, because it was only open for a short amount of time, they reopened it like several months later to Kickstarter, people that had supported them on Kickstarter, to make additional purchases. And by that time I had saved up a little extra money, and so I also ordered 700 grams of sheep wool, which was much cheaper. So I'm just gonna pull out this. This is 100% sheep wool from free-range sheep. It's very soft, as is this baby yak. I want to say the sheep wool is softer. This is not merino, it's just sheep wool, but it is incredibly soft yarn. So I have 700 grams of each of these. I'm not going to pull them all out, but this is the colorway navy. They also had, at the time, you could order baby camel, I believe. You could order cashmere, which cashmere is way out of my budget, even on a Kickstarter. It's like 45 bucks a skein. Maybe next year I'll order something from them and then order like 1 skein of cashmere to make something fabulous in. Like 100% cashmere yarn. Wow. That's like a life goals, right? To just be like, I'm gonna buy a sweater's quantity of cashmere. So next year my goal is to buy one skein of cashmere from them. But they had this, they had a couple of wool blends, and I think they had some, I want to say camel, yak, wool, and there was something else. Maybe it was the cashmere. But I mean, you had to wait a really long time to get this yarn, but it was worth the wait. And it's not like I've been spending all of my time crocheting and knitting this year, so I have room in my stash. It's not like I'm like, I don't know what these projects are going to be, but sweaters quantities are what I really want to focus on right now, because I'm really into like making sweaters, and 700 grams in each of these. No matter how long it sits in my stash, this is going to be a sweater one day. Both of these will be sweaters, and I'm so thrilled. So this is the company, if you want to look it up, Oola Plus Leah. They do have some yarn left on their website right now. It's not at Kickstarter prices. It's at whatever they regularly charge for the yarn. But you can buy this. They have some colors left in wool, in yak, and in camel yarn, and I believe in cashmere. So if this is something you are interested in supporting, sustainable yarn all the way from Mongolia that, you know, brushes the animals, etc., then definitely support them. I could not be more thrilled. And it was kind of fun to buy something and then a year later to have it show up on my doorstep. I was like, oh my God. I mean, I knew we get updates from the people, like all the Kickstarter people that were involved in this got updates. So we knew at one point, because of COVID and the shipping delays, he was looking at having it like all of the freight sent, and it was gonna be like $20,000 to get the yarn out of Mongolia. So it was like, obviously that's not feasible, so we just have to wait. And I hope no one was mad at them for that, because this is like circumstances completely out of their control. So I was really thrilled to be able to support them, and hopefully I can do that again this year as well. I'm really tired. I have a couple more minutes before the baby wakes up, and I personally feel fine today. I know my voice sounds like I don't, but I feel fine. I don't have a headache. My stomach is completely back to normal. I can eat whatever I want today. The baby is not back to normal, and my husband's now not feeling very well. I hope he does not get the fever and stomach issues. Just passing it around. So I'm in like cleaning mode this morning. I have already cleaned like all of the countertops and all of the dishes and put all of the towels in the laundry and mopped the whole kitchen floor and sanitized all of the door handles and light switches in the house. I've cleaned the baby play mat. Like, I am in purge the house of germs mode now that I'm feeling better. So I'm hoping to be able to mop the living room before she wakes up. Hoping. Today's Thursday. I'm supposed to be taking today off of work, except I've done so little work this week that because I was sick and then she was sick and she's still sick. It's really like, if you work a normal job, quote unquote, like a Monday through Friday job, and you have sick time and you call out for 3 days because you have the flu or whatever, you have a stomach bug, and you happen to call out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is your day off, you then don't spend Saturday working, right? No. So why do I feel that I must spend all of today working when I've essentially used sick time for the last couple of days? I've still worked some, as much as I possibly could, but not nearly as much as I need to. Why do I feel like I need to do it? It's because when you work for yourself, which is technically what I'm doing, I employ myself at different church. There is always this pressure in the back of your mind that if you don't keep doing and doing, if you don't get everything done, if you don't do more and more and more, that the business is just going to fail because it's on you. Like, I didn't put any content out on Instagram or on TikTok this week. In fact, I'm behind on sermon prep. Thankfully, my sermon for this Sunday was already written. So I still have to do the slides and stuff tomorrow, but I'm not going to get the time tomorrow away from the baby like I normally would to work because my mom can't come over because everyone's sick. So, like, it's just one of those hamster wheels, like, you get on and you cannot get off because if I don't do more, then people won't be involved. And then if people aren't involved, then they won't feel a part of something. And if they don't feel a part of something, then they won't donate. And if we don't have donations, then different church, I'm not going to say will close its doors because I will not allow that to happen, but then different church won't be able to have the budget to pay me. So like, it's this constant like hamster wheel that you get on, or that I get on. And I know that if you're a business owner, or you're an entrepreneur, you do things like this, it's probably very much the same for you. You're like, if I don't do it, then it won't get done. And if it doesn't get done, then people won't buy the stuff. And if people don't buy the stuff, then I won't have money to pay my bills. And it just goes on and on and on. So I don't know what the point of that is, other than it's a struggle for me. And I'm currently struggling with it right this second. And I will not also be working today. I am not going to do it. I already texted my partner, which I know sounds weird, but like the partner that I'm doing different church with, not my husband. That's my marital partner. There is a partner that helps me with everything at different church. And it was actually his idea to start the church. And I told him yesterday, normally I put out a video on Instagram, on the church Instagram every Thursday. And I was like, I just can't do it. Like I can't. The baby's sick. She's not just like a little bit sick. She's really sick. And all of my energy is talking to her. I don't have time to prep and prepare a video. Even a 5-minute video feels overwhelming, so I can't do it. And actually, I'm really proud of myself for saying that, even though I feel really guilty. So, I don't know. This is just my life. I feel like I'm running in circles all the time. It all goes back to expectations, right? I need to start releasing things that are out of my control. But the problem is I feel like these are things that are in my control, right? And that's kind of one of the lies that we start believing is that everything depends on us. Everything. But after this week, I need to not work today. And I'm not going to. Depending on the baby's fever situation and how she's feeling, when she wakes up from her nap, we may go out and get some food and come back. Because Thursday, I like to have a little Mommy Nova date. We usually spend $10 on food, and we get something and we share it and we have a little date. Normally we go out and about, but I don't want her to spread her germs to the world, so we may just like go through a drive-thru and come home. But if she's not feeling up to it, I have frozen chicken nuggets in the freezer for such a time as this. And I have, thankfully, a spatchcocked chicken that is already seasoned and everything from Trader Joe's that we got over the weekend. And at the time I was like, oh yeah, that'll be like easy. I did not even know how much I would need that. Literally all I have to do to that chicken for dinner tonight is put it in a pan and put it in the oven. That's all. And then it's magically done an hour later. Thank the universe. And last night, literally made some freezer tots in the air fryer. So, that's how it goes. It's been a crazy day and a crazy week and a crazy month and a crazy year. And when the baby is sick, it's so sad. She's fine though. She's improving by the minute. She was so much happier this morning than she was. So I'm all over the place. So I guess I'm going to sign off here before I keep rambling forever. But join the Love Your Stash Pal. Don't forget to use the coupon code Sunset Beach for $1 off of this shawl pattern for 1 week until next Saturday. Thank you so much for all of the support you give me. And then I will ask, if you like the content on this channel, please do subscribe. There was like a big dip in subscribers during Vlogmas, which I totally get because it's a lot to have a video, like that many videos pop up on your feed. 31 videos, in fact, in 31 days, plus podcast episodes. But I've worked really hard to grow this channel, and I think that I'm trying to put out something of value here, and I know many of you are here because of the safe space we've created together. So if you like this channel, please do subscribe. You can also hit the notification button, and that way you'll be notified when new episodes come up on this channel every 2 weeks. I'm so thrilled that I'm able to podcast today, even though I really didn't think I was going to. But the baby is a little bit better, and I'm better, and yeah. So I'll see you in 2 weeks, and until I see you again, happy crafting and be kind to yourself. Bye, friends.